Hello and welcome to part 2 of the series where we're learning how to change the subject of a formula. Hope you're having a good day. And yeah, so let's look at this. Question 1, we'll have this formula and we are trying to change the subject to b. And so we see, where is b? B is actually stuck inside this square root and we have to get rid of the square root. And how do we do it? So let's just think of a number and use it as an example. Let's say you have 2, and what happens when you square? You get 2 square, right, which is 4. And how do you get from 4, which is 2 square, how do you get back to 2? You actually take a square root of 4. So so squaring and square rooting actually is the opposite. You're going the other way. So in this case, if we have a square root, right, so we have a square root, and we want to kind of like undo it, what we have to do is simply square it. So let's square it, both sides. And once you see on the left-hand side a square, right? On the right-hand side, you see a square root and a square together. So really what you're seeing is this. You have a square root and then the square. So actually you start here, you square root, and then you square it. You're back to where you originally came from. So they kind of undo each other. If you see a square root and a square together, like this, they undo each other. So can you see the square is gone and the square root is gone? Both are gone. They undo each other. Great. We remove the roof. We just need to get rid of this now so that we can make b on one side. So let's make it a squared minus 4xy equals to b. And then finally, just make it b equals to a squared minus 4xy. We're done. You notice if I isolate b on one side, even if it's the right-hand side, I can just flip it around because, yeah, it means the same thing. These two equations mean the same thing. I can just flip it around. So I don't really mind if b is on the right-hand side. Yeah, I can just flip it around easily. All right, let's look at this second question, a simple one. P equals to v squared over r is actually a physics equation. Power equals to voltage squared over resistance. And we want to make v the subject. So let's just remember what we had regarding the square and the square root. They undo each other, and so okay, we want to make v the subject. So maybe let's get rid of this r first, right? P times r, and then we can get rid of the r. Now we have this v square, and we want to get rid of it. How do we do it? We take a square root. We have pr square rooted equals to v. Now, something I want to say is that when we take a square root, we actually always have to do this. We have to do a plus minus. Why? Let's look at an example. 2 square gives me 4. But what about negative 2 square? You will see it's also 4. So that's interesting because if I take a square root, right? Let me square root 4. If I take a square root of 2 square, it gives me back 2. If I take a square root, right, and remember this, the square root and the square cancel each other out, I get negative 2. Sorry, square root, yeah. So square root of 4, and so hopefully that helps you to understand why we need a plus minus every time we take a square root. Yep. There we have it.